Right back into where we left off with some more Termagants and some more Orc Marines. I'm pausing for doing the Star Wars Shatterpoint stuff because I feel like you guys might not be into it as much, and I wanted to switch things up. But the big announcement is that I did in fact, prime the Terminators. So that unit is for the most part primed. I just couldn't prime one of them. So we're going to start painting those up as well as working on our regular Orc Marine units as well. So just an overall large paint night, and we're going to take a look and see how we do. Trying to start off a little bit earlier, so we're going to start trying to do our streams at 9 as opposed to 10. Oh, there we go. And we already are rocking at the gates. So let's jump in, let's start going, and let's have some fun. So I think we're gonna start. We're gonna go right back into the Orc Marines we were painting up. So you guys probably remember these are some custom Space Marines that we painted up. And we were just going to town, getting them all situated and set up from last time. As always, if you have any questions as we're going, please let me know. And we're just gonna keep going at it. So. And actually, I'm gonna do a little bit of this lighter Orc flesh to bring out a little bit of detail on some of the skin bits, because I realized I was a little overzealous with I was a little on the overzealous side with that null oil. So I'm going to bring a little bit more highlights to that belly on there. And as always too, please let us know what you're working on your painting table at home. Always fun to figure out what you guys have in the chamber thinking about. Are there any like specific models that you guys are looking really forward to? I feel like the music is competing with me now. Just gonna lower that a little bit. Does that sound better? I feel like that's a better mix. I'm also gonna lower it in my headphones. I was gonna say, I always say to people, let me know what you guys think of the stream and what is up. And let me, there we go. I'm going to jump onto our Discord server as well, so anybody who is a Discord member can jump in and say hi with us. All right. So we got that belly a little bit nicer. Actually, I'm going to keep this out because I might use a little bit more of it for some other... He doesn't have... You know, it's funny. Because they're wearing the Space Marine armor, there's not a lot of areas that are... There's not a lot of areas that need a lot of highlighting, but we can definitely bring a few areas into the fold just to give him a little bit more of a standout. And for folks that are curious, for the General Trooper guys, it's some Spellcrow bits for the head and midsection. And then we have all Space Marine bits and a little bit of green stuff just to flesh out and make some of the proportions a little bit better. I thought it'd be kind of fun for them all to have Power Fists, because I think it's kind of funny. I feel like out of all the like Space Marine tech, they would probably steal a lot of Power Fists to like make their army bigger. So I was like, that kind of makes sense. What do you guys think? What do you think would be a good addition to the Orc Marines? What do you think is the coolest space Marine tech that they could steal? What do you guys think? Oh man. And like I said, please do not hesitate to let us know what you're working on. What are your feelings and thoughts? Is there any like I said, is there any models out there that were previewed that you're like, I gotta have that? Obviously, for the Tyranids, I am very excited for all of the models that are going to be coming for, you know, the second wave of their faction. Just looking to see if there's any more like Space Marine armor areas. I'm just giving a little bit of shadowing to some of these armor plates just to bring them a little bit more pop. But seriously, guys, is there anything you guys are looking forward to? Maybe it's not Space Marines or Tyranids, it's another new faction or unit. They announced a lot of stuff. I have to do some of the, yeah, this like blue went on. I gotta redo this. I don't know why it went on so light. I have to do some checkering on one of them. I'm probably gonna do the checkering on, I just realized I did some shadowing on that. Probably I'm going to do the checkering on that one. I'm just putting a little bit more color on this because it just, I guess it was like very watery when I put it on. I find when you have the contrast a little on that watery side, it's a great way to get even armor paneling with it, so you don't get as much of your brush strokes in it. So I almost treat it more like inking. And then you'll get that like hold in the recess, but you'll keep it nice and non-brush committal. So like here you can see, I'm probably gonna do the same thing over here, just go back over it, because if you keep going over it with the brush, you will just keep building more tone and there will always be like splotchiness to it. But if you kind of use a little bit more on the water side and do more of a wash, and I always find that contrast paints, especially for what I'm doing now, which is more like blocking the paint, it's better to have like a medium-sized brush for that. I've had to go over a lot of the blue areas on this because they all seem to dry a little bit on the lighter side, and contrast does usually dry a little lighter than it comes on, so you may have to do a few coats or kind of build up some texture in there before you can really kind of put some final touches on there. I'm going to use some Skeleton Horde for the trim on the Piratey outfit. But yeah, do you guys have any thoughts on what's coming out? I mean, I know it's not Warhammer related, but I don't know if I have any TCG collectible card game players out there, but that has been a fun little journey. I don't know if a lot of people out there have been trying to start the whole Lorcana Lorcana journey. We opened a couple of packs on the channel, but it has been some journey to get Lorcana up and running. Man, oh man, has that been tough. Just use the Skeleton Horde so we can have a little bit of a separation, since he does have that shirt. I may do the trim differently, but I just want him to kind of look like he's got a leathery shirt on. But yeah, if you want to have some fun on the internet, go check out anyone who is selling and or looking for Lorcana cards. That's become a really interesting situation. It has definitely been just a fun little time, let me tell you. Because the company that made that game definitely misinterpreted what the demand for it was. So the scalper folks and the crazy Pokemon YouTubers out there that are just opening stuff to get it like graded and then like sold and flipped immediately have been really jacking the prices of everything. It's been, oh damn it, I'm gonna have to rewind that. So I've said it a few times now. I really hope that the initial game survives, because out of everything, that's what I fear, is that because of all this inflation, nobody's actually going to buy the cards and play the game. And that for any new TCG game, anything like that, it's just like instant death for a game. Because if the players can't get the cards and people are not really playing it, you might as well just close up shop and it'll just be one of those card games that never had its full start. So, but yeah. So, yeah, this has been crazy. I really have liked this conversion. I can't wait to get into some of the Terminators in a minute, because I don't think this guy's going to take me too much longer. I mean, I want to do the, a little bit of like the freehand checkering, because, I've been making everybody laugh this week, but, no. I'm an old school orc player, so to me, orcs are not complete unless they have checkering and some of the other symbols on them. So, I mean, we got most of the detail. I'm going to punch up some of the darks and some of the highlights, but I will say, if I were to do these conversions again, I think the Spellcrow bits worked pretty well, but I will admit that I think they might have been a little too rough for some of the ideas that I had. I mean, I think they do in fact work pretty well, but I they're a little bit more textured than I think I was looking for, but I do think they inevitably did work. More of it is just really more of the texture in the face, because it's a little challenging to paint it. Well, especially if I'm using, because I am using like a lot of the contrast paints. I mean, they pretty much they all came out really well. Like, it came out nice and gritty, which I do like. I'm gonna go through and just do an overall like retouch on all of them, because like there's a little bit of variation and stuff that I need to tidy up, but besides that, pretty good. What do you guys think? Are you liking the Orc Marines? I know we've been painting them for a while, but I got into this conversion and I was like, ooh, I really like this. Now, I was gonna say, they are pretty much related to our. I know that normally we do Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff. The reason why I haven't is because they've taken a little bit of a pause on releasing Marvel stuff. And that is Atomic Mass Games, because they took a hiatus because they were really focusing on the Star Wars Shatterpoint game, which we did a little bit of here at the channel. I think I'm going to make this jacket something else. I did the Apothecary White on the jacket. I don't really like it. I mean, the good news about doing the Apothecary White, and I did that on purpose, is that I can switch that color very easily. But I'm not feeling it. I'm not digging it. so I think I'm going to change it. It's too bland. It just doesn't really give the pop I want. Another quiet night out there. I just realized he's got a belly that I didn't paint. It's fun to paint these guys, but you know, it gets a little treacherous because, you know, I say it all the time, when you do when you do custom things like this, it could be a little tricky and challenging when you're starting to color certain things, because, you know, you're trying to get the colors in there, but there's a lot of unpredictable areas in there that you just don't see. And because you're combining bits together, I mean, I do try my best. Obviously, when you're doing a mashup, you want to try to combine your bits in the best way so everything fits. I don't know why my camera seems so far out than it normally does, but it's almost like this was. Let me just move this really quick. No, you guys are seeing everything the same way. Okay, that's weird. But yeah, what I was gonna say was, like, when you're doing customs like this, you have to sort of fix where you're gonna put stuff, and sometimes the way that you are putting them together, you sort of have to figure out like what you want to do. Now, I did the captain's vest as red. I don't know if I want to do his vest. Like, there's too much gold and leathery colors. That's why I went with the gray. But maybe we'll do his like vest with a little bit of purple in it. Let's see with this dreadful visage, if I put that on top of that apothecary white. Let's see what we get. Does that do the trick to break it up a little bit better and give it a little bit more of an impact of color? Because now it'll give it like a grayish purple, and I feel like that will be good enough to differentiate it from the rest of the model. So let's take a look. Because now with the apothecary, what I'm hoping is that that'll play up the purple a little bit more. So it's like a faded light purple. Which I think will look a lot nicer. The other problem is that this goes back to the Spellcrow pieces or bits. They're good, but they have a little bit of a different modeling and texture. So that's why I had to use some of the green stuff to sort of give it a different look or feel. But I think it came out good. It's just that yeah, I think that looks a lot better. I'm gonna have to do some null oil on the hat too. Yeah, I think that looks so much better. I like that. I like that a lot better. I think the purple is looking super rad, super nice. I may have to make a few minor adjustments to this, because what I'm noticing is that I'm having a little bit of trouble. Like I said, I think I went too crazy with that belly. So I think I gotta use some white scar to get that back. I'm just gonna redo the stomach, because I think I went a little too overboard with the black. So I'm just gonna re-whiten all of that, so I could put a nice fresh Plague Bearer green on there, just to get that stomach in good shape. Because now with this painted correctly, now it looks more accurate to what it's supposed to be, and I can hide that a little bit better. Use some Space Wolf Gray. Yeah, I hope we have a little bit of a better showing tonight. I don't know. No. Okay, now that. It's because this should have been seeing that detail in there. Crap. All right. Now they don't look bad. I hope you guys are enjoying them, enjoying the models, enjoying the stuff that we're doing on the channel. Like I said, we're going to try to start earlier in the week and see how that goes. Hopefully, I did need that again. One of the things I did with this model is I did pose him down. So, like, probably shouldn't have done that. I should have posed him more in an up position so you would see his face better. But I didn't do that. Like I said, he doesn't look horrible. I just want him to shine a little bit more than he does. And we're gonna make that happen. It's gonna be a lot of just like little tiny tweaks to him. I actually might not do checkering on him. I know I said I was going to, but this model, a lot of what I've been doing with it, it is a little bit of a struggle. I feel like I am fighting the model a little bit, I've noticed, but it's been interesting nonetheless. But yeah, I feel like I have fought the model a little on occasion, because I took, so when I said that this was made up of, you know, orc bits, obviously that's true, but the orc bits that I in particularly used for this model were the ones from the Kill Team box. So a lot of the hands and a lot of the body limbs or extras were all done with those things. So they do have a slightly different look to them, or a feel to them, which I do dig and I do like, of course, but I do want to make sure they stay like polished. And I always feel like I'm doing lots of little, like, I said it before, it's like a lot of little touch-ups because you have all these like custom bits. So they really do play out as like different, almost like you are constantly working on different models, which is another cool thing about doing a custom army like this. You are always like challenging yourself with a different paint. So I do find that interesting. We're going to see if this looks out of place. My guess is it probably will. Just because it's not going to look like Space Marine armor, but I don't know. It's like weird. It's like it looks like it shouldn't be blue Space Marine armor. So I'm like trying to figure that out. I make this joke a lot, but the whole reason I created these guys is because I don't really like playing Space Marines, so I find it funny. That's why I created these, because I was like, ooh, I don't play Space Marines, so like, wouldn't it be funny if they just stole their stuff, and then I could totally make these guys in the image of what I wanted, and so that's what I did. All right, sorry guys, I know we're getting to that like the fine detail of these of this guy, so like I'm really trying to hone in on getting certain parts just painted, and I did a decent job with the green stuff and converting. What I learned about green stuff is that so I haven't used green stuff in a while, so part of the issue really falls to me because I just hadn't experienced it for a long time, and I realized that my sculpting skills are still a little like rusty. So oh my god, why is this now doing a whole other color? That's weird. Okay, let me just get this blue in there. And then we're just gonna make this like, yeah, we're gonna make this as if it's like another armor piece. So what I actually did, which was more to help the model like set, was I kind of like shoved green stuff in the crack. So now I'm just painting over that, so it just looks like another armor piece. There we go. So I'm using a little bit of painting just to make it look a little bit more like it's mounted up correctly. Perfect. Perfect. He actually is looking really good. I'm really happy with the way he's turning out. So I have no complaints on this end. I hope you guys are enjoying them as well. We're going to sort of flip-flop. We're going to paint Termagants and we're going to do Tyranids and Orc Marines. So that's going to be basically the whole show tonight. Because like I said, they've put kind of a temporary pause on Marvel stuff because they're releasing a new box set for the Marvel Crisis Protocol game. So for anyone that was on the fence about getting into it, this is actually a great time to get into that game, because they will in fact be so I'm just doing a little bit of shading just so we have a little bit more drama going on in that vest. So we're gonna put in some washes so we really get a nice bit of detail on him. Null oil, my super duper friend. I love using null oil to getting so you can get certain areas just a lot more dynamic and interesting, because you'll be surprised as you go through your model. You may start to notice that there are in fact just areas that could benefit with a little bit of a darker tone or darker look. Just putting a little bit on some of the detail, and again just really trying to get it in those crevice areas so we just get a little bit more variation, similar to how I did there, because you'll start to see with the null oil how it's going to bring a lot of those details back. So I love doing it for things like in here. And somebody gave me the compliment last time that the orcs really look like, they really look like, it's that the orcs really themselves took spray paint and started painting everything. That is something that I really, really want them to look like. I want them to look like they really took all of this Space Marine tech and went to town on it. Making it theirs, making it definitely stand out and grittier, so it doesn't look like they just jumped in the armor. I want it to be orky, as if, now this is just wiring and spooling, so I'm going to make those wires just all different colors. So it looks like we have just console wires and stuff. Because I wanted their bases to look as though they boarded a Space Marine ship, obviously killing the crew, taking all their tech. So I wanted it to just look like console wires, spiraled out, like they destroyed it to open up a door or something like that. kind of think of this music as like them on the ship going to get so what are you guys painting? Nobody out there has told me yet what they might be painting out there on their painting table. No one's alluded to what that might be yet. I realized I might want to do this cable in the blue because I kind of like made it, and that'll be nice because it's like a light color on that yellow or next to that yellow. Because again, when you do basing stuff, I've always said this, you don't want basing to look like you don't want the basing to look too, you don't want to take away from the model itself. So you always want your basing to look like it's intriguing, interesting, but at the same time, you don't want it to take away from your model, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out if Monday nights are a good night for us to paint. That's why I'm playing around with the time. I'm playing around with a few other odds and ends. I feel like there's a lot of people that stream on Mondays, so I feel like maybe we should focus. I don't know, maybe like my brain is starting to think weekends are the answer, but I don't know if that's correct or not. Because a few of you do come and watch us on, you know, on the weekdays. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Let's see. But then I also know that a lot of people have switched over to playing like Starfield, which part of me is like, should we like vary it up? Should we do like a game on Monday nights? I don't know. Then there's like Baldur's Gate. There's like a couple of games I want to get into. And I don't know, is that the answer, you know? I mean, the goal is I'm just going to keep doing what I love. And my hope is that we'll just keep building, right? And then part of me is like, you know, is it also, oh, did I just do yellow on that? Oh, that's actually kind of okay if I did that. I don't know. Then part of me is like, is it that maybe we're not doing enough of the new stuff, and that's why people are like, I don't know if I want to check this out anymore, or like you guys just got bored of it. I don't know. You know, as always, I say this all the time. I am my worst critic, so I will always say that our streams are like 10 times worse than they really are. I'm always like a big component of like saying, you know, what do we got to change? You know, I'm always thinking about what's good, what's not good, what, you know. So I'm just as bad. it's funny. I thought with the paintings, I was talking to a lot of people, and I thought the painting was a little less saturated than it was. And then, like, all of a sudden, I feel like a bunch of people popped out of the woodwork to do painting. So I don't know. I don't know if painting just became more popular, or if it really wasn't. I don't know. But I do feel, to an extent, it was like overnight. I felt like there was like twice as many people streaming painting stuff. But then part of me is like remembering that it might have been more also the fact that there was a lot of like things like Dragon Con and other stuff going on. Not Dragon Con. There was a lot of conventions going on when we were like kind of blowing up a little bit. So I'm thinking, is it just that, you know, less of the bigger fish were around, so everybody was like, oh well, if the bigger fish people are not around, I'm gonna do like little splotches. That actually is kind of a cool idea. Every time I think that I'm ready to go, I figure out another thing that I want to do to make it more interesting. Um, I used a different yellow. That's why. That makes totally more sense now. All right. But yeah. So I noticed that was like a thing, and I'm like, oh, well, then maybe that's part of why that week we were doing much better with our streaming, because basically all the big folks weren't around, and so some of you were like, oh, well, I have to find another person. I have to find another person to watch. So let me, let me check out some of the other streamers out there. So I think that might have affected our numbers slightly. So, but that's okay. We'll just keep moving forward, because painting, reviewing, and playing are all things that I enjoy doing. And I have no intention of quitting that. So this is one of the leapers that I'm painting up now. Just using some Blood Angel red to do like the synapse parts. So for this army, we've been doing like a hybrid design, where the newer models, so what I call, like, in my army, essentially the younger, like, newer genetic mutations of the Tyranid army, I'm doing in a more aggressive color style. So they're going to be like a lot more colorful, have more experimental colors, and then the idea is that as they mature and become some of the larger units, they go more to that traditional Tyranid paint look. So kind of that idea, like in nature, when an organism or something changes, it's from adolescent to like full grown. It's that kind of idea. This one I kind of went with a different paint style, just to try some other different color combinations. Just noticing little pieces that I didn't paint. And basically, what I try to do with these guys is I started using the Apothecary white, so they're not getting like a full white on. I was gonna say, tell me there are inside vents. No, there are not. Okay. I just realized I didn't paint also like some of the scales. I was running on empty when I was painting this, so I kind of like gave it my like 2 cents, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm exhausted. I gotta that's another reason I'm trying to start our streams a little bit earlier. But I realize with the Leapers, like, they're crazy because there's a lot of detail to them in a very small, compact space. So you're doing a lot of detailed Tyranid painting, but it's like a 2 by nothing little model. So it's like not as spacious as some of the other models. Even a Warrior has what I feel is a little bit more like spaciousness to it. So what I'm looking here is I'm just looking at touching up some of these because I didn't do a good job of like getting to the edge of some of this. So I'm just trying to I also may feel, I don't know if I feel like there's too much orange on him now, because those plates, they're very, very orangey, but let's see. Because I'm trying to keep them in line with, again, this idea of this like newer generation or brood of Tyranid. So I'm trying to keep them, trying to keep the Leapers kind of in that line, but similar to the Warriors, I'm going to do, I think, different. I'm going to make sure that the canopists for them are like different. Because I like this idea. There's some cool stuff happening. I like the way that they're coming about. I like the way that it's changing. And it's got like a little bit of a spirit, like a kind of a hybrid, right? Because that was the other piece I wanted to do with them, was I wanted the new ones to be like more of a hybrid of this old Tyranid, so that you can see the transition, right? You can kind of see how they might shed their colors and become some of the more massive Tyranid units as they progress and evolve. Trying to make them a little bit more interesting than the more traditional paint samples for Tyranids. If you look at like the original paint scheme for Tyranids, it's like, you know, it has similar color values, but it's a little bit more stagnant. One of the big reasons that the original Tyranids, I feel, are a little bit more stagnant is also because, you know, they make the skin tone white. With the newer models, they've really like tried to work on having more detail in the skin and more detail in general. So, but like I said, guys, if you like what you see and want to see more, consider following the channel and signing up for notifications. My Streamlabs, I always feel like, doesn't tell me 100% like who's watching and who isn't. So, you know, make sure you let us know. You know, please let us know. I'm trying to do a little less talking. I don't know if you guys like when I talk or if you've grown accustomed to annoying it. I don't know yet. But I'm trying to what did I do? I think I did too. Yeah, I did. Using Skeleton Horde. So I have this like I did this on some of the newer Tyranid models, but this idea of like sort of like a bone, like an inside bone for the connected tissue, just so there's like a little bit more color to them. I did this on a few of the other newer models, and I really liked it. And the other thing about the Leapers is if you look at the lore for them, you know, they're supposed to be a stealthier unit. They're supposed to be able to, you know, literally leap out of the shadows at you. So I'm like trying to give that that sort of thing to them as well. Yeah, so their knees and some of that internal skeleton, I'm trying to break it up in that other color, which I think looks pretty cool. Because then they get this like bony sort of bony texture, which I'm a fan of. I like that. But I really, really am liking this this approach to them, because I think it just creates a very cool unit look. So especially with the red inside in the other ducks. Oh, I just realized there's a red there too. But yeah, you can see already how I just feel like it comes together very well. And I like it too because it gives that hint and spot of color without being too overbearing, which I like. I'm going to do inside of this, but then for that connected tissue, I'm going to do another color. Which I'm now realizing maybe I should have just did both of these that color. I did something different for those. I just don't remember. Unless I did the, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I might have done the claw in a different color. I think that's kind of another weird thing that they did with the Leaper. Like, they had like a, I mean, it's not weird, I guess, because I guess it does make sense because of the way that it is, but yeah, I really like how this is coming out. Like, it looks very, very cool. just a little bit of a different. I like how different the look is for them. Oh, I just realized I have to do more with the skeleton horn, which I totally forgot about. And it still kind of embodies that the white skin. It just makes the skin a little bit more. Makes it more of an off-white. I find that this works really, really well too. So when you have that detail there with the spikes, it really, really pops that red. I don't know what you guys think of this Tyranid paint scheme. Now we're not completely done, obviously. I got to put some more highlights and shadows, and you really start to see it pop a little bit more. But like I said, I've done this for a lot of the newer ones, and I think it looks really good. I think that paint scheme looks amazing. I think it looks really, really good, and I'm just enjoying it. And then also, you know, they gave them some dynamic bases, which is nice. It's always nice when they put like a little bit into the base, so you have a little bit of detail. I'm always a big fan of that. Yeah, there's a lot that I have to do with washes to get this like better to what I want, but it's getting there. It's definitely getting the Tyranid feel that I want. We're just not 100% there yet. Like, we're getting close. We're getting close. We're not 100% there yet, but see, that's what I was afraid of. It's gonna be too white. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta bring it back a little bit. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting bringing some of this detail back. This is going to be a nightmare because it's what I tried to do, which sort of worked. Yeah, this is going to muddy it up. It's too liquidy. So what I'm trying to do, I just want to get a little bit more of it on some of the areas. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. Because I like this, I like what I did here, but it's like, I want to just get it a little bit more of a lighter tone so it just pops a little bit more. Because right now it's the Dreadful Visage by itself, but I wanted to add a little bit of white to that Dreadful Visage so that it's a little bit more blended and it's a little bit more interesting. because right now it's like but the problem with the Dreadful Visage is that the Dreadful Visage is so light that when you add the white to it, I don't want to essentially highlight this all in white. That's not my goal. My goal is to give it like a little bit more intrigue and a little bit more of a highlight, but to keep some of the natural like good stuff that it did. Now I also need, which I think will help, that just muddied everything. Yeah, I think this needs to. This connective tissue needs to be more of that Dreadful Visage, which will be a grayish purple, which I think will help to offset that a little bit better. Yeah, that connective tissue is also that darker tone, that grayer tone, that should bring us into a spot where now all of that will contrast off of it, and we'll have a little bit more variety to it. Put this a little bit darker so it's a little bit more prominent in there. Alright, that looks pretty good. I like that. I think the overall model might be a little too on the light side, so I'm going to have to introduce some larger amounts of contrast into it, but I'm not disliking it. I just have to work on it more. I feel like all I'm doing is painting Skeleton Horde now. The Leapers are weird. They're weird models because I think they did a good job with them, don't get me wrong, but they have very like weird poses. I probably should have like bashed them a little bit where I took the pose out, but again, I try to modify them slightly so they just look a little bit more interesting. So hopefully this will all work out really nicely. But like I said, it's very hard because especially for the Leapers, they're both not small and small at the same time, so there's a lot going on in their model, so it's just a lot of like crammed, packed detail. So as much as I think they're like in one spot, they're like really in another spot because they're so like detailed. Let me just see here. All right. Oh, interesting. All right, sorry guys. Where are we at time-wise? Okay. Been on for about an hour. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know this is also like a holiday, so this might be a lower cast night, so I might have misjudged our audience participation for tonight, but thinking that there would be a little bit more out there, but it might be a slower night just because people might have went away, they might not be around, so for a lot of people or maybe, you were home all day, and so you were like, you know what, I'm gonna watch my painting stuff early. I don't know if anybody did like barbecuing and other stuff today. Get maybe one last barbecue in. I know for us here on the East Coast, the weather was pretty nice, so this was good barbecuing weather if you were looking at that. Yeah, I always don't trust Streamlabs because I always think that they're telling me that I have. I feel like every stream they've done that to me, where there's like folks that are hanging out, and then I don't know about those folks until later on in the stream. Because lately it has not been my buddy when it comes to giving me accurate show numbers. Even my analytics have not been accurate. I feel like everything is just kind of like breaking itself down, but I could also be just making all that up, to be quite fair. The whole, it's easier to just say, oh, well, there's got to be an issue, versus like, there are just not that many people interested in what you're doing. I always wonder if it's tied to also, I know I made some promises that we were going to have, and yeah, I got to get my Patreon back on track, because I said we were going to have a bunch of stuff for that, and of course my weekend got super crazy. Part of it was just, well, the reality of my weekend was, part of it was just a whole crap show of just a bunch of other things happening, and just not good times. A lot of heavy stuff this weekend, a little bit. So I was not particularly pleased by that, but it is what it is. So now I'm just going to take some null oil and kind of go to town, putting that null oil in different areas. Just darkening certain areas. I don't want to put it on everything, but I definitely want to put it on some areas, just to create some natural shadowing, some natural highlights, especially on the Tyranid, like melee weapons and things like that, because it's going to give you a better shot of depth to them and angling them. And then just little things like, crap, just going over like smooth areas so that your eye starts to see some of those forms. Again, this is the stuff that when people kind of go with that traditional Tyranid paint style, I feel like you lose a lot of that detail. So you'll lose a lot of it. It gets lost in the shuffle of things. So you just kind of, you give a little bit of null oil, a little bit of that wash, and you just kind of, all I'm doing is just hitting it and gliding it across on those undertoes, because what you'll notice when I do that is that it's going to create a natural shadow, and that's going to give that shadow that we're missing from where I did the highlights to really sell to the person. Oh, okay, he's you can really see that depth of the canopus. So, but like I said, they made a lot of weird choices with the Tyranid models, where they put a lot of weird things in a couple of weird places, from like a structural standpoint. Because you'll see the color naturally pooled, but once we get some null oil on those things, it's going to look even better. But before I go on doing that, I just realized I never painted, I think, because I don't really have, so I definitely want, I think, to paint these with the Luxor purple. Which, FYI, if you were wondering, that Luxor purple is actually the original color this is kind of like the more traditional Tyranid color. But what I thought would be kind of cool is if this was more like a connected tissue membrane kind of thing. But now I'm thinking, would it be interesting to have that Luxor purple be this undertone? I kind of think it would be cool, because I think it would bring that Luxor purple like into more of the model. So I think I'm gonna actually go the whole mile with it and just have it be the color in here. Might do the spikes a different color, but I kind of like the Luxor purple as that color. And I like that because then we're bringing that purple into that part of the model, which is kind of cool. What I really like, yeah, I like that, because then it gives. So then maybe we'll do the whole inside of it Luxor purple, and then that connects the Luxor purple that's on the because I feel like there's too much orange on him now. So I'm like, I don't want it to be orange, I don't want it to be red, but if at least if it's like that, that's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool color. What do you guys think? Do you like the Luxor purple in there? I'm trying to be a little bolder with that paint because I want it to really give me a nice pool. A nice pool effect. Yeah, and then we can just do this. I like that because then we get a nice shot. I like that because it's a nice shot of purple. because then it gives like a little bit of color in there. Yeah, ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that. That's cool. That is very cool. I like this. Nice. Nice contrasty color in there. Right, very cool. Very, very cool. I like how colorful my Tyranids are, and I like that, again, each unit has a, like, unique, because that was something when I sat down and said I was going to do a Tyranid army, that was something that I thought about when I was gonna start making them, was this idea of really making sure to create something unique and fun, and like I said, this narrative of them just continuing to innovate and continue to change the genetics of their hive so that they keep making different incarnations of the Tyranids. Okay, I know what I was doing now. That's what I did last time. Okay, now I remember. That's how I did those bits. I just went over them in null oil. Okay. Got it. Okay. Yeah, this leaper is really cool. I really like how this leaper's coming out. We talked a little bit about this last time, but yeah, definitely, like, always give yourself that moment where you like really think about your model, but like there really is, we called it the ugly stage. Every model goes through like that quote unquote ugly stage where like the model you think the model's not good or it has that issue, and then you get it through that one little stage. And going back to what we were saying, like, this is part of why you really have to take your time and think about your model and how you're gonna do it, because as you guys can see, just by doing, I did just a tiny bit of null oil, right, and did it on the mandibles, I did it on a few other places, and we have a totally different vibe and feel to this. And that's why I tell anybody who's doing Tyranids to really think about your Tyranids, and think about not doing that white skin. So if you do that very traditional Tyranid paint job, I think you will find that your Tyranids won't really like pop as much, and you'll be a much happier person if you take that time to really like showcase their skin and the texture on their skin, because with these newer models they really have upped the detail on their skin, and just a lot of the crevices and things that are in there. You want to really like take your time and think about it. You don't want to just rush it. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. We got to still do some highlights on the armor plates, but I'm just doing some null oil on the coils themselves. I found this worked really well because it really brings a lot of life to them. Whereas if you just kind of paint them and don't do this, I feel like they don't, they just don't have as much depth to them. It's kind of the same idea as like when you have a wire on a Space Marine, making sure you take some dull oil and throw it on top, so really get some nice deep and make sure when you're doing this, if you feel like you've gone too far, just come on back and grab that excess from it. So you're really getting, but that little touch will give you so much more depth in those areas. Oh, I'm really liking how this Tyranid's coming out. It's super duper cool. And again, we still haven't done the highlights, I haven't done a few other little details, but he's definitely coming along very well. So I'm going to pop him off for now. I'm going to get our orcs back on track. And let's get the captain. Yeah, we're going to work on him. So I sort of proclaimed him as the captain, and the only reason I proclaimed... So here is the Terminators. So I said that the orcs had gotten bigger. Well, this is what I meant by that. So we're going to work on this orc Terminator that I made up, and you can already see he's got some custom wiring, a big giant oil barrel on the back of him. He's got the Terminator weapons, all that good stuff. So we're just going to go for it and start to paint up what we see. I have an idea of what I want to do, I think. So let's jump right off the deep end and get into it. And see. I'm trying to see what is... So I think first thing on the docket is we're going to do a, like, kind of a skull helmet that he's going to have, which is going to make him a little bit more intimidating. So I'm going to use Skeleton Horde just to... because I want his helmet to be more orc-like. And then, obviously, we're going to have the same paint scheme for the Terminator armor that they've been using for the other stuff. So, same idea. We're going to make it like they spray painted these Terminator suits of armor. But we're going to give the orcs a little, I'm just trying to see where the now I was a little messy on that, but that's okay because I'm gonna go in there and tidy that up. I'm just trying to get my boundaries because this helmet is interesting because it's definitely got an edge to it, and then we have a little bit of orky head, and we have straps on it as well. So there's a lot of detail on this helmet, and I'm just trying to get us so that we get all of the helmet painted, so that I can really start to focus in on some of those other orky details. Because again, the helmet and some of the paint job are really going to be the only things that are going to distinguish it from an orc. From the orc side to the other side. So, and as you guys can see, I'm trying to be really careful with my paints. And again, like everything else, whenever you start a new paint job on a unit that's part of a different section, even in a custom army situation. No! God damn it. trying to do a little bit of damage on this. Okay, well, that got screwed up. I don't think it's the whole thing. Okay, no, it is the whole thing. Alright. Yeah, it's just a big drop of water. Biggest thing I can tell anybody is just make sure you clean your, well, obviously cleaning your brushes is number one on the list, but the other thing also is make sure that you don't try to rush like I just did. So the reason that happened was because I tried to rush and I hit a big glob of skeleton horde that wasn't dry yet. Also, what I probably should have done was I probably should have painted the orange section before I did the red section, which is my fault because I got too excited, which happens to me a lot, because the red would have gone on top of the orange really, really easily. Now that I've not done that, I'm going to have to, well, I may have to repaint. Yeah, I may have to spend time repainting because I've now come over the other side of things. I also am not confident that I actually got all of the orc symbol, so I'm gonna probably be coming in with a darker tone anyway. But again, just trying to make it look as orky as possible. And then obviously we're gonna follow suit where I'm gonna make different parts of the armor, you know, different colors as if they painted it. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. The Terminators are gonna be a lot of fun to paint because they're not gonna be as straightforward as our other guys, but they're gonna be a lot of fun. Wow, so Mondays are a really dead day. All right, so we might not do Mondays, but like I said, this Monday's a little bit of a different type of thing because it is a holiday, so it is possible that it's just not a lot of people are around. So and as always, please consider following the channel, signing up for notifications, so you can know when we're live and around. This is a really complicated design. Well, it's weird because there's like, all right, so now this has gotten a little on the muddy side, but that's okay. I think the problem is that I guess I thought this design was a little bit larger or different, and I'm learning that it's not. It's a lot more of a detail than I thought it was, so I may have to wait till all of this dries and then come on back in here because, well, a couple of things. The Skeleton Horde color didn't really do what I wanted it to do. It's not giving enough contrast, so I may have to scrap that idea and go with a different idea because I'm not happy with it. But I also had that issue where now the red ran into a bunch of other colors, so it might just be it might have just been that, like, because that color did that, like, it just doesn't look good now. But I think it's just that it's too close in color value. So I think we're gonna have to do something different for that. So I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I thought a skull hammer, so it's probably gonna be better if that was like a black, or actually maybe we'll do the rusted gold. Maybe that's the way to go. The Balthazar gold. Let's see. What does a metallic make the rest of it look like? Does that make it pop a little bit more? Yeah, I think it does. So I think we're going to do the Balthazar gold. We'll do a metallic for this. Oh. I feel like that's maybe too dark now. Let me get the green for the orc on there. I don't know. I'm like half in, half out on this. That might have been a bad color choice. I don't know. Let's get it go up here. I don't know. I'm like so 50-50 on this. I'm like so 50-50 on it. I mean, I'm going to do all the straps a different color, but I'm just trying to get things painted and just get color on it so I can better understand what I'm looking at. Because I've said this before, but it can be hard sometimes when it's all primed white to really understand what you're looking at. I don't know if I'm really liking this or not. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm gonna have to wait till it dries to like maybe throw some null oil on top of it, but I mean, it looks orky. It does look like what it's supposed to look like, but yeah, I've made all the cod pieces. Like, I think that's kind of funny that I've done that. I'm like still trying to figure out what I want to do here, because none of the regular units had chest plates, so I think we're gonna do some different things on the Terminators, because I think it'll be fun. to do them slightly differently. So for them, I know that like I did this for the other ones, but I think I'm gonna do like their armor not like they will still have blue in it, but I do like the idea that maybe they're being a little bit more zany, and maybe they're painting at least some of the components or pieces with a different feel or intent. Yeah, I like that. I think I like that idea better because they don't have the gold trim like the other units had. So I think I'm gonna just go a little different on their paint. Again, just emphasizing like one or two parts of it being painted, you know, being repainted with orange being the prime, you know, some of the oranges and the yellows that orcs have come to know as their lore and their like way of dealing with technology. So we got the yellow for the cod piece, which we've kind of kept that standard on all the other ones. I kind of like the idea of maybe half. Maybe we'll do half of the chest plate is painted a certain way, or we can play with that idea. So not all of it is painted in the blue. I do think it's important that some of it is still blue, because I think that that's going to sell, because you know, you want to have both ideas, right? We want to have both the orc idea and the space marine idea, so when somebody looks at it they could be like, whoa, like what the heck is going on here? Like this is clearly not a normal, it's not a space marine, it's an orc, which obviously the helmet will do it, but I do want to have, again, same concept that we've done on all the other ones. I want to make it seem like they took the armor and like painted it so that it's not just a clear cut, like they just took the armor and used it. And then I feel like I want to start adding a few more effects on things too. But I wonder if the fact that I'm multi-streaming is causing Twitch to deprioritize me. I feel like that might be part of it too. I'm going to try tomorrow not multi-streaming and see if we have a difference in our audience. I don't know if anybody knows if Twitch does do that. If they like go, oh, well, you're clearly multi-streaming at the moment, so we're gonna like block you or give you a bad bit rate, and so we're not gonna like recommend you to other people, because I feel like that might correlate in part of why we've had like different levels of participation from our audience, and I'm wondering if that has something to do with it, because I started to do some multi-streaming just to kind of like see how that went, and maybe that's another piece to why our Twitch audience has kind of fell, because I feel like Twitch gave me like a bad bit rate when I did that, and I was wondering if anybody out there knew if like maybe Twitch started to crack down on like, oh, well, you're gonna multi-stream, like we're not gonna support you as a creator now, and kind of trying to make people's lives a little harder. I don't know. But I also could just be crazy and thinking the wrong thing. That also could be true. Good old. Because I feel like that is 100% true. That they sort of downgraded us. But I'm not sure. Oh, these Terminators are looking pretty sweet. I'm liking this idea. I like the... This was not a terrible idea. I'm actually really liking this. The idea that they're like all like mishmashed. Again, just kind of staying on track with the whole like the orcs actually went and painted all these things. I'm really liking this. I think it's staying in that vein, which I'm happy about. Oh, that's okay. That can get blue as well. It's crazy because I'm painting very delicately, like around corners and stuff, but I just want to get like the basics in. Yeah, this is looking awesome. I love it. Again, it's conveying that idea that yes, the orcs came by and started spray painting the heck out of these like these Space Marine units. I love it. Because again, like I said, I want to make it so it's very much a, you know, hybrid, right? Like you see, all right, yep, they definitely took the armor from a Space Marine, but then they like went and customized it and painted it. Now these I foresee being obviously a lot cleaner than the baseline models that I have for the just like regular Marine unit, only because these are primarily made from, you know, there's a little bit of kit bashing, but it's like primarily just I built the Terminators and then just added some work bits to it. So this is gonna be, you know, what I perceive as looking a lot more complete or looking a lot more polished, because it's essentially a GW kit. I just, like I said, took a little bit of work bits and just refashioned some of it on. So these will probably seem a little bit more, they might seem a little bit more coherent. There we go. That's what I was looking for. there. Now we're going to get some no oil across the top. There we go. Now we got some orkiness. I'm going to put some highlights on that, but looks a lot better than it did a minute ago. Just giving it a little bit more punch. Again, I love null oil. Again, I'm going to give it a little bit more punch to it, but that looks so damn good. Because it looks epic now. It looks like this orc guy is just like... Sorry, I'm like getting into the model now. Alright, but I can't do those final touches yet. I love the mask though. The mask... Again, I'm going to lighten up some parts of it, but I like that it's bronzed. I like that it looks like... super badass and scary. I love that. I have to develop more of the model first, but so far so good. I've said this to a couple of people. Like, basically the approach to doing these guys is like, you start off by doing basically a you're essentially gonna paint this the way you would normally paint a Space Marine. So you sort of paint it like a regular Space Marine, and then you start to like add and change stuff. So I'm just taking some Apothecary White just to do the because I always like to do this for the emblem. It's a nice base coat. It's a nice base tone for it, and then you can go from there. But it's just a nice base to work off of. Which I like. Oh. Alright, so we're a little on the dead side tonight. I mean, that's okay. I think we're going to try not to do the multi-stream. I think that's going to be something different. But like I said, tonight's a little bit of a wash because, no pun intended. Because like I said, it's very possible that the reason we're a little lower tonight is because a lot of folks might be out and about. They might be doing other stuff. You guys might have been away. You know, for a lot of people, it might be it might be a different story for you today. You know, after a long holiday, maybe, you know, like many people, you gotta get back to it. No. Damn it. But I know also there's a lot of people out there I know that like few games came out. A lot of the sports games are coming out. So like I know people out there might be delving into some of that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that's been rocking, you know, last couple of days. Oh yes, all right. I totally love this more mad painter kind of style to these Terminators. because now that yellow is really good for them, because I really like how that yellow looks, and it does look like it really does sell home that Bad Moon yellow, which really is an orc yellow. It really sells the idea of them painting these guys, which I really love. Ah, damn it. Ah, it's because I'm going too fast. No. Ah. There's like so many things that just went wrong. This is so annoying. I'm gonna have to fix that. So dumb what I just did. Yeah, this when you do what I'm doing now, which is like combining the two colors, and you're making it as if they took one color and tried to paint it on another color. You do get the potential mess ups. I don't know if I'll keep them or not. I mean, some of them kind of, I've had this happen before when I try to do like styles like this, and sometimes I do keep the mess ups because it's sort of natural, and when you look at it, it does kind of look again like they were trying to do that, and they they accidentally painted that. So it's like what would naturally happen if you were just taking spray paint and trying to paint like a thing of armor different. So it can kind of like work to my advantage, because I'm like, oh, that actually looks like, what would be true, to what was happening. Because again, the idea of this is I don't want this stuff to look like it is solely their stuff. Like I do want it to look like that they, that of course it is Space Marine armor, but like I don't want it to look like it just came off of somebody. I want it to look dirty and gritty and all those things. But so far, I love the way the Terminators are coming out. Like this very different than how I did the other ones, but like I think it works really well. This idea of of just like armor panels that are half painted, half not painted. As if they really did go through and painted some of the panels, but not all of the panels. So it is really cool. I really I'm enjoying this, and like these units have been a lot of fun to paint. So I'm happy. I'm liking what we're doing. As always, I'm just gonna paint the whole thing blue, and then I'll come in with some metallics for that to give it a little bit different flavor and color. Yeah, I don't know how. These Terminators are gonna take me a minute, because now I'm being a lot more selective with my paint scheme. So I'm probably gonna do a lot of the coloring. Like I'm gonna alternate. So like this is probably gonna be orange versus blue. So it is going to look like a mishmash a little bit more, like a controlled mishmash, and obviously aesthetically pleasing. But I'm already loving this idea that they like went through and painted certain bits a certain color, and yeah, just I love the idea that it's just like not all cohesive. Like like I said, it's gonna be cohesive in the sense that um, it'll look good, but I like that it's gonna be like kind of a different take on it, which is this not. I feel like this yellow is turning into an orange, so a little bit more of an orange yellow. I didn't realize that until I put it up. Until you have, it's kind of interesting. I talk about additive color mixing. The fact that I have this color, now that I have this other yellow on here, you can see how orange of a yellow that is. But I like that there's like all these different tones of yellow, because again, when you think of orcs and you think of, you know, how splotchy orcs are, that was a happy accident. It just made blue there. That's interesting. But I'm loving this. I'm loving every minute of this. Like, he looks like an orc Terminator. That's like the coolest thing ever. This is like so cool. And it looks grungy and gritty, and I really, really like how this is going. Yeah, and I like this idea of like them having green swords. So I think I'm going to keep that going too. That looks so cool. It has such a nice flair to it. You know, and then like for this, I'm really gonna. So if I get that blood red, I'm gonna get a little bit of highlights on this right now. Just try some stuff. Wow, it really is a slow night tonight. Okay. I still think it's because I really do think it's because we are, I think it's because I'm doing the co-streaming, the multi-stream. I really do think that they penalize you for doing that. It sounds wrong, and it sounds like it shouldn't be like that, but I feel like they do probably do that. Or like I said, it's just because there's like two things going on my computer. There's the fact that I'm doing that, but then there's the fact that I'm doing that, and then there's also the fact so now we could put a little bit of, so I put a tiny bit of reflective quality to it. There we go. So now we have a little bit of that reflective quality. I don't want to take too much of it away, because I don't want to overly highlight it, because I want it to stay that red. And then we'll do the same with the same with the orange, so that we give a little bit of contrast to that orange. But if you guys like what you're seeing, please consider following the channel, signing up for notifications, and you'll know exactly when we go live if you do that. I stream pretty much every night, and like I said, we're going to really work on trying to We're really going to try to work on you know, getting on earlier for you guys. So I just lightened up some of those areas. So we have a little bit more going on, and then once that dries, then I'll go back in with some null oil and we'll get it a little darker into the recesses. But then at least now we have a couple of highlights in there. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that looks pretty super cool, and I think it looks super much like, again, an Orc Terminator. I think it looks like an Orc is actually sitting in there, which is awesome. And just really kind of marries the two ideas. Now, what I was doing with the orcs was, anytime we had skulls, even for the middle chest, I started to like make those actually skulls. Again, more as like they maybe painted it, or they may actually have, like, you know, actually like started to put skulls in the decoration. You know, again, just kind of going with that orc aesthetic of a little bit more like brutal. So that it looks a little bit more on the orcish side rather than looking more Space Marine-y. You know, like I said, I think it's enough that they have the Space Marine tech, so they're, you know, they're already exuding that Space Marine quality. I'm just going through and basically just making all of this a little on the dirtier side. I'm really digging this project. I think this is gonna look super cool, super awesome. I know I'm going for little details now, but I want to give certain areas time to dry. But I'm super stoked for this. I already like how this is coming. I like the incorporation of this this Bad Moon yellow. That looks really good, and I think is going to look perfect for these guys, because again, I love the old world. You know, again, I always like to do like retro paint jobs when I can, and I think these guys are starting to, you know, fit into a retro paint job, which is awesome. But yeah, I think we're gonna really try to not do a multi-stream tomorrow night, so that we can see and test, because I really do think that that's why we're getting maybe lower interest or attendees, because I really think Twitch is penalizing me for doing that. I don't know if it breaks their bylaws, or I should have read them before I did it, but you know, because I could always upload the video afterwards, which I think I'm going to just start doing that. Um, but I wanted to see, just start to play with that audience, to be honest, and see if we would get, and just do a little bit of these like testing ground things to see if my computer can handle doing all of it, what my computer would do when we did it. So I've done enough bench tests and stress tests now that I don't think it'll be bad, but I feel like Twitch is actively being annoyed at me for doing that, but I could be wrong. And it's interesting because I know that there are people out there that usually do come in and chat with us, but for whatever reason, they're not hanging out tonight. Nothing wrong with that, but I mean, some people are actually streaming, so that's another reason, but which I totally respect if that happens. Alright, well, we definitely went over. I am going to call it quits for tonight, I think. But it definitely means that if we do start a little bit, or if we do start a little bit earlier, I think it's going to work out for everybody. But we were able to paint more of our Space Marine. We started working on our Terminator, which I'm liking how the Terminator's coming. I definitely have to do a little bit more for the face. But so far, I'm liking how it's coming out. We could already see that orky paint job, which looks awesome. I love these guys, and again, I think this works and fits right in with the rest of our orc fleet. So they're definitely working really well. I just gotta play with a little bit of streamlining the paint job, but yeah, definitely having all these guys on the field, I think it's gonna look pretty awesome, pretty amazing. I'm loving every minute of this. But we got to go through and just do, I think, little tiny touch-ups. They're not bad, but I think these Terminators are definitely going to be a lot better. Obviously, the Dreadnought goes in with that as well. But, like everything else, we'll have to just, like, keep building, keep looking, and just seeing how we can fix stuff, But the Terminators, I already am loving our approach with it. And then, I just want to do one last thing. So I'll bring that darkness back. My only complaint I think I might have done is I think I made this. I feel like I made this a little too dark now. The faceplate, but I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, did I do the right thing there or did I do the wrong thing there? Because Well, if you guys want to see us finish these Orc Terminators and contribute a little bit more to the final paint job, consider coming and following us so you can be live with us while we do the rest of these guys. I think this is a great start. I love the way it's already looking. It still looks very orky like they painted it, which I love. And then we worked a little bit on our Tyranids also tonight. One of our Leapers. I really am digging this paint style as well. Still have to touch it up, still have to look through it, but I like some of the color choices. And I think we're going to do all the other Leapers like this. Again, that Canopus color is going to change. But I do like the way that this looks. We just got to touch up a little bit. But it's starting to really take on a nice shape. And like I said, just got to really get into those recesses and give it a once-over. But it's impressive. It looks good on the table. We just got to get some of that drama back to it. You know, little tiny things which are already happening, but we got to just get a little bit more going on in there. So again, worked on some Tyranids, worked on Orc Marines. If you guys want to see more, continue to follow the channel, sign up for notifications, and we'll be back on tomorrow. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we're going to do our first comic stream on Friday, which I'm so excited for. We're going to do some of our comic work, and I promise Patreon's going to get really overhauled this week. And we're going to get everything going. I had a little bit of a momentary setback. I do apologize to you guys because, again, I am causing you to have less content, and I want us to be able to deliver on what we promise. And so I do apologize, but if you give us even more of a chance, we can continue to give you more content and follow the trends and things that are going on. So thank you all for watching, and as always, please consider following the channel, signing up for notifications, and check out our About